Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm providing an updated version of my best loadouts for every single weapon in Battlefield 2042 video. There were some new weapons added recently because of the Iwo Jima update, so of course, we have to make a new video. This will include the F2000 and the links for anyone wondering, and I will leave timestamps in the description for each weapon category. Huge shout out to Sorrow, who made Sorrow's Scribbles, which I will also link in the description. He is the Battlefield 2042 weapon stat savant, and because of him, all of these weapon loadouts in this video will be statistically the best weapon loadouts you can possibly have for every weapon. So this isn't like speculation. He did the stats work for all this, so these are actually all of the best loadouts you can have. This is going to be a long video, so let's get into it. If you do want to follow Battlefield 6, this is the channel for you. I'll be doing videos just like this for that game, as well as individual weapon setups. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and of course, leave your comment of what your favorite weapon is, and then I will link all of Sorrow's details in the description. Big thank you to him and everyone else that contributed to his work on the stats side of things. Now, we'll be starting with the SMGs. I'll be going pretty fast for each weapon, but I'll be explaining some things that might be confusing for some people. For the PBX, Tactical Compensator, LWG Grip, and Close Combat, just a general rule for all weapons. Sights are personal preference, so I'm not going to be going over sights. And then just make sure to fill out your ammo types and fill out any bottom positions here if they do have grenade launchers available. This is an SMG, so it doesn't. But in general, you can copy this entire tree here, but these first positions right here are the main attachments your weapon are going to have when you spawn in. So for the PBX, Tactical Compensator, LWG Grip, and Close Combat Ammo. For the PP-29, one of the best weapons in the entire game, the Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake is back in the game, ladies and gentlemen, as of the previous update. This was removed, now it's back in. So, Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake, standard issue. MP9, Arcom again, LWG, and Close Combat Drum. K30, Tactical Compensator, LWG, and standard issue drum. AC9, Tactical Compensator, LWG Grip, and Subsonic. The reason why you're going to want to use Subsonic over Close Combat Extended or Standard Issue Extended on this weapon is a bit of a weird damage model thing, but again, these are statistically the best builds you can possibly have. So, if you're finding yourself in a situation where you need more ammo, you can just simply switch to one of these other ammo types. The damage model thing, I think Subsonic has an extended first damage range, which is very, very useful. The SCZ-3, Tactical Compensator, LWG, and Standard Issue Drum Magazine. P90, Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake, Laser Sight, and Standard Issue. It's worth noting, they just added these new underloaded magazines, but seeing this as a submachine gun, you're going to want as much ammo as you can get because you're going to be up in people's faces. AKS-74U, there's basically no downside to using the wrap suppressor on this build. Laser Sight here, and then Standard Issue Extended. And that wraps up the SMG category. For the M5A3, it is worth noting that as of recording this video, August 25th, the master key is globally disabled due to a catastrophic bug. I'm sure you guys saw that, and I'm sure you guys died to it right when Iwo Jima released. So, the loadout would be short barrel, master key in this first slot, and then grenade launchers of your choice, and then subsonic. The reason why you want to pick subsonic over standard issue is subsonic has a 10-meter long advantage in damage range as opposed to standard issue extended. This is really felt in game. You're going to beam people with higher damage from a longer range. Again, if you find yourself needing more ammo, you can always go with the standard issue extended. But master key in this slot, hopefully they will re-enable it once they fix the bug. AM40, Tactical Compensator, LWG Grip, and Standard Issue Drum Magazine. The AK-24, this weapon is so accurate, you don't really need any other accuracy attachments aside from the LWG. Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake, LWG, and Standard Issue Drum Magazine. And again, this is another situation where you're going to want to use grenade launchers instead of, say, like a laser sight or a bipod here. Having a bunch of grenade launchers available to you is, well, kind of overpowered. Now, one of the best ARs in the entire game, the SFAR Tactical Compensator, just all your grenade launchers here, and then high power drum. Do not use standard issue on this weapon. High power is definitely the way to go. AC-42, after much testing, the best loadout for this weapon is Champion Muzzle Brake, LWG Grip, and Subsonic. Subsonic, once again, has a weird damage model thing, and I think also for this weapon it might have something to do with recoil, just to keep that burst from getting too much muzzle rise. I used this 10 minutes ago before I recorded this video, and it is definitely a laser beam, especially on console, which has less recoil and a less harsh first shot recoil multiplier. So if you're a console player, try out the AC-42. RM-68, they nerfed this gun to the ground. Shortened barrel, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. Still pretty decent, though. Where am I here? The GU-46 GEW. Tactical compensator, LWG grip, and high power extended. VHX-D3, another weapon they've nerfed quite a bit. Tactical compensator, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. AK-5C, again, another weapon where the master key is supposed to be in the first slot. So, this weapon also has a very unique setup. This is one of the only weapons in the entire game where you can actually run heavy suppressor, subsonic. What this does is, it takes you completely off the radar when you shoot. This is, I think, the only AR in the game you can do this with. Extremely unique and extremely effective. That was the AK-5C. The brand new AR, which is also, I think, the most overpowered weapon in the game right now, or one of them at least. This weapon has 960 RPM with an insane 5 BTK damage model out to 100 meters. This will be getting nerfed, so grind that battle pass. Short barrel, LWG grip, and standard issue extended is what you're going to want to use, absolutely. Again, almost 1,000 RPM, 5 BTK out to 100 meters. This is completely broken. Moving on, there's basically no downsides to using the Type 4 heavy suppressor on the M16, so use that, LWG, and standard issue extended. And then it's worth noting that you have a bunch of very unique underbarrels here. You can select anything from M26 Mass Buck to a M320 LVG. Tons of fun stuff you can do. The LVG is super strong, by the way. Moving on, ACWR, another weapon where wrapped suppressor doesn't really matter, so you can use it. LS1 laser sights and standard issue extended. A91 tactical compensator, laser sight, and standard issue extended. M416, this is a brand new attachment they just added for it not too long ago. You're going to want to use the short barrel integrated suppressor. This raises the fire rate of the weapon, which of course makes the time to kill better, so use that. LWG grip and standard issue extended. I wish I didn't have to scroll down every time. MTAR-21, another weapon where you can actually use the Type 4 heavy suppressor, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. AEK-971, tactical compensator, fill out all your grenade launchers here. Again, this is another weapon with a rare LVG attachment, which is extremely strong. Standard issue extended as well for that weapon. Finally, the AN-94. If you are using the AN-94, do not use it in burst fire mode. Let me explain. Burst fire mode is supposed to be the hyper burst mode for the AN-94. But because this is a Battlefield game made by DICE, it's actually best to burst fire the AN-94 in full auto. I know it doesn't make any sense, but trust me, use this weapon on full auto and then burst it like you normally would, and you will get the intended effect that you expect from using the AN-94. Use this weapon with a wrap suppressor. Reason is, the muzzle velocity is so high that you actually still have almost 1,000 meters per second muzzle velocity, even with the wrap suppressor. Then, of course, just use whatever grenade launchers you want. This is another weapon with a rare LVG attachment, and there are no other magazine options. That is the SMGs and the ARs done. Moving on to the LMGs, this is the LCMG, another weapon where the master key would be here, but it is not right now because it's disabled. You should be using short barrel, master key, and then fill out your grenade launchers here, and then have close combat ammunition. Close combat is statistically just barely better than standard issue and high power, so that is what you're going to want to use on that. The Vancies, tactical compensator, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. PKP, this weapon has a ton of recoil, Warhawk compensator, and high power extended for that. Where am I here? Okay, the RPT, short barrel, LWG grip, and high power. DFR Strife. This is one of the best mid to long range weapons in the entire game. If you use this weapon with high power belt fed, you have a 5 BTK range of 0 to 149 meters. You essentially have almost no damage drop off, and to make this weapon even better, it is one of the only weapons in the game where you can run the Type 4 heavy suppressor with subsonic, and it is actually viable. So the DFR Strife is like 2 weapons in one. You have a sniper LMG with using tactical compensator, LWG grip, and high power belt fed, and you have a stealthy LMG using Type 4 heavy suppressor, LWG grip, and subsonic belt fed. So this is one of the most fun weapons in the game, in my opinion, and of course, fill out your grenade launcher slots, because if it wasn't good enough, it has grenade launchers on top of everything else. The M60, tactical compensator, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. XM8 LMG, this is another weapon that just received new attachments. You're going to want to use the integrated suppressor short barrel. This raises this rate of fire, which makes the time to kill better. So use that, laser sight, and standard issue extended. Also, it's worth noting this has an underloaded magazine. It's bugged for me and I can't unlock it. Maybe it's better, maybe it isn't. I would just say go with the 100 round drum magazine though. M240B, tactical compensator, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. Type 88 LMG, tactical compensator, laser sight, and standard issue extended. And finally, the RPK 74M, which just got a bunch of buffs, so this weapon is a lot better. If you haven't tried it, now is the time. Tactical compensator, laser sight, and standard issue extended. And make sure you use all of these weapon ammo attachments there. Moving on to the Marksman Rifles. The DM7, if you want to, if you're a masochist and you want to use the DM7, use Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake, LWG grip, and standard issue. The SVK, the long barrel on this weapon is bugged. It has absolutely no downsides. We have tested this multiple times. It's the best in slot attachment. So long barrel with 0 downsides because it's bugged, LWG grip, and standard issue extended. BCAR, short barrel, laser sight, and close combat drum magazine. If you have a super fast trigger finger, this is the weapon for you. The BSVM, one of the most overpowered weapons in Battlefield history when it first came out, and it is still incredibly strong. You're going to want to use the short barrel suppressor, LWG grip, and high power extended. It is also worth noting that you can turn this weapon into an on-the-fly sort of SMG AR hybrid with close combat ammo, so you have a full auto DMR / AR in one weapon. The G428, this weapon got nerfed in the ground. Just use the SVK. Tactical compensator, LWG grip, and high power ammunition. It really is a shame what they did to this weapon. M39 EMR, this weapon has a shit ton of recoil. Warhawk compensator, laser sight, and standard issue extended. SVD, same thing with the SVD here. Warhawk compensator, laser sight, and standard issue extended. And finally for the M1 Garand, guess what? You have no choice. Have fun. Moving on to the sniper rifles. The SWS-10, there are multiple different setups you can have on this weapon. It is one of the most versatile sniper rifles in the entire game. So, long barrel laser sight and high power is one setup you can use. Short barrel laser sight and standard issue extended is another setup you can use. And then finally, wrap suppressor, close combat ammo, and laser sight is another setup you can use. All of these setups just are completely based on what situation you're currently in. Generally speaking, I would say use the first setup, long barrel, laser sight, and high power. But the DXR has something to say about the SWS because this weapon is probably the best sniper in the game. 6KU suppressor, a rare case where you can actually use the suppressor and has 0 downsides. So use this, standard issue extended, and if you want the best long-range sniper in the game that is not the railgun, use extended barrel and high power for basically 0 bullet drop. Moving on here, the NTW-50. Pay no attention to the Toys R Us like Nerf gun skin, I had to do it, guys. Anti-material for one-shotting infantry if you're a piece of shit, and anti-material high power if you want to shoot at vehicles. XE bar, a very unique weapon. One of the other snipers you can get away with using the 6KU suppressor with high power and laser sight, and the other setup, if you want to go completely off the radar with a super stealthy sniper build, PB heavy suppressor, laser sight, and subsonic ammunition, and make sure you always have standard issue extended available for you to use as well. It is also worth noting this weapon has a unique sight, the XCE scope, and I quite like it. Alright, the brand new sniper. This thing is honestly really bad. This thing is really bad. It should only be used to shoot at vehicles, unfortunately. So you're going to want to use laser sight, and you're going to want to use anti-material high power, because again, you're just going to want to shoot at vehicles with this thing. It can do a lot of damage because it is semi-automatic. You will out DPS the NTW50 by a fairly significant margin. So if you do just want to shoot at tanks or jeeps or whatever, that is definitely something you can do with the Lynx. Fun fact, I've been 10 feet away from a real Lynx shooting. Let me tell you right now, this reciprocating barrel in real life is fucking sick, all right? And it creates a massive shockwave. Finally, the Gaull Sniper Magnum, factory barrel, laser sight, and standard issue extended. We're coming to the end of the primary weapons here. If you have been enjoying this video and you find it informative, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and of course, let me know your favorite loadout from this video, or just a personal favorite loadout that maybe isn't statistically the best, but you enjoy using. Onto the tactical weapons, factory barrel, laser sight, and buckshot for the MCS 880. The government 4570, again, sights are personal preference. This is probably best used as like a weird little sniper weapon. Warhawk compensator, because this weapon doesn't really have any downsides from using it. It says minus weapon accuracy, but sometimes weapon stats lie to you. Laser sight and high power. 12M auto, this weapon had a massive fall from grace, unfortunately. Believe it or not, the best way to use it isn't actually using the shell drum. It's to use the short barrel, laser sight, and the flechette ammunition for infantry penetration. And there are some weird other benefits, like the damage model and the range and all that sort of stuff. Ghostmaker R10, this is a very unique weapon. This can one-shot infantry in the chest, and it has explosive bolts. Factory barrel, laser sight, and standard bolt. I'd say for most people, if you want to troll, you can use the explosive bolt. Now onto the railgun. This is by far and away the most disgustingly overpowered long-range sniper in the entire game. So if you want to use something that's hit scan, that's a sniper rifle, use the high-power capacitor and armor piercing. Excuse me, just use the high-power capacitor. And then if you want to turn it into a full auto railgun, you can use the stream capacitor and then switch sights to something like a thermal sight or just a red dot sight, whatever you want. All right, finally, the NVK S22. This is another weapon where flechette is technically the best ammo type to use with factory barrel and laser sight. However, I'd recommend just using the MCS 880 because it's the MCS 880. It is incredibly OP. Now onto our last section, the sidearms. So we have the G57, tactical compensator, laser sight, and what is this? Close combat drum magazine. Be sure to always use this weapon in its burst fire mode and hip fire it. It is incredibly strong. The MP28, Warhawk compensator, laser sight, and standard issue drum magazine. This is also a very, very good weapon. The Magnum, this is a pocket sniper for those of you that like that. So you can run it with a scope and run it with high power, and that is basically all you really need. I think it one-shots people in the head out to 100 meters, so it really is a pocket sniper. PF51, Warhawk compensator, laser sight, and subsonic ammunition. I'd recommend against using that unless you're a masochist. This thing is kind of ass, I'm not going to lie to you. NVK, you're going to want to use the factory barrel, laser sight, and standard issue extended. I don't have it unlocked, but you're definitely going to want to use the extended magazine if you have it. The Super 500, you're just going to want to use basically buckshot and call it a day. The L9CZ, you're going to want to use the tactical compensator, laser sight, and subsonic ammunition, again for its strange damage model benefits. The Desert Eagle, probably one of the most overpowered sidearms in the history of Battlefield, laser sight, high power, and if you have this skin, it does 500 damage per shot, obviously, because, I mean, look at it. Why wouldn't it, right? Let's see here. The M1911, probably the worst sidearm in the game, tragically. Has no redeeming qualities except it's a 1911. Just use the close combat extended ammunition type. The Rex, a fan favorite from Battlefield 3. There is nothing you can do to it. Very sad. Very sad indeed. It is pretty good, though. The M93R, you just want to use the default muzzle and close combat extended. Unfortunately, this weapon is quite bad. You should just use the Glock instead. And then finally, the MP443. You're going to want to use the standard barrel, laser sights, and finally, the massive 27-round close combat extended magazine. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll just look at this America Desert Eagle skin. Hope you found this video informative. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I will be putting out videos that are similar to this in Battlefield 6. And I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. Again, massive shout out to Sorrow. Follow his channel, subscribe to him. He puts out great informative videos, and he will be doing so for Battlefield 6. And I'm sure he will have another weapon stats document for Battlefield 6 just like this game. So thank you guys so much for watching once again. Subscribe to everyone, and I will see you guys in the next video.